Sprinkles, Santa Claus's special elf, because everything is special with sprinkles. Santa Claus knows you're special too, and he has something to say to you. So listen close as Santa Claus shares holiday cheer with you. You can leave a special message for Santa Claus and get on the nice list at www.santaclaussays.net. Now here is the big man himself, Santa Claus!
Ho, 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 and Merry Christmas to all the boys and the girls of the entire world. From every continent, you come to Santa Claus for three things. Here at SantaClausSays.net, we bring you Christmas cheer, which we get a lot of that from Sprinkles, our wonderful elf. Isn't she wonderful? And we share a Christmas story. We're reading the story, The Life and the Adventures of Santa Claus. And then we also share a letter to Santa Claus, and we have a wonderful letter to share with you today here on SantaClausSays.net. We do want to remind you of a few things that, pardon me, you can always reach out to Santa Claus at SantaClausSays.net. That's where you could leave me a voice message, or you could leave me a text message, which I get on my purple cell phone. And then also you can leave me an email, and you can leave me an email at SantaClausSays.net/present, and I will send you a present in your email that you're going to enjoy. We did want you also to know that you can also have opportunities to have a personalized video with Santa that I make and I send to you by your name. You're either your child's name, your name, or a family name, or maybe some other group like a company. I can give you a Christmas greeting as Santa Claus, or a personalized video chat, a Zoom call that you can have with Santa Claus as well. And one more thing, Breakfast with Santa. We have Breakfast with Santa live. That is this Saturday, December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. That's where I have interaction with you at YouTube. So you go to YouTube at Santa Claus Says, and you can find me there. And I'll have my milk, I'll have my hot cocoa and cookies, and we'll be doing other special things that we do at Santa Claus at Breakfast with Santa Claus live. That's what we love to do here. We love to serve you and to listen to you because we love you very, very much. Oh, boys and girls, there's our Glockenspiel. That is our chimes, which tell us it's story time here at SantaClausSays.net. During the entire time we're together here, we've been reading this book. The book is called The Life and the Adventures of Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum. And he wrote also a book called The Wizard of Oz, and that's a very famous movie that many people have seen. But this story, this adventure story, is all about me, Santa Claus. And it was brought to us by the good people of the Gutenberg Project, and they help us to bring this book to you, which we're reading every day during Christmas time of 2023. You can get this show every day at Facebook and at YouTube and on the website, SantaClausSays.net. At all those places, just go to Santa Claus Says, and you will find me every day. If you miss any of the story before, go back to a prior episode, and you'll hear all the story about the life and adventures of Santa Claus. And don't forget, we're getting closer and closer to Christmas, so you want to keep up with this story because it's really, really getting exciting. Today, we're reading the section of the story all about the reindeer. When the reindeer first came to Santa Claus, and they first started making trips to see boys and girls at Christmas time. In fact, we're talking about how the reindeer helped Santa Claus get to people's homes and go down the chimney. So where we left the story at was Santa had gone down the chimney for the very first time to be with some children. And now he left a doll baby for a little infant, and now he sees some other little children. And here is how the story goes. Let's begin. Here are two boys, fast asleep, with their arms around each other's neck. Claus gazed at them lovingly a moment and then placed upon the bed a drum, two horns, and a wooden elephant. He did not linger. now that his work in this house was done, but climbed the chimney again and seated himself on his sled. "Can you find another chimney?" he asked the reindeer. "Easy enough," replied Glossie and Flossie. Down to the edge of the roof they raced, and then, without pausing, leaped through the air to the top of the next building, where a huge, old-fashioned chimney stood. "Don't be so long this time," called Flossie, "or we shall never get back to the forest by daybreak." Claus made a trip down the chimney also, and found 5 children sleeping in the house, all of whom were quickly supplied with toys. When he returned, the deer sprang to the next roof, but on descending the chimney, Claus found no children there at all. That was not often the case in this village. However, so he lost less time than you might suppose in visiting the dreary homes where there were no little ones. When he had climbed down the chimney of all the houses in that village, and he had left a toy every sleeping child, Claus found that his great sack was not yet half emptied. "Onward, friends," he called to the deer. "We must seek another village." So away they dashed, although it was long past midnight. And in a surprisingly short time they came upon a large city, the largest Claus had ever visited since he began to make toys. But nothing daunted by the throng of houses, he set to work at once, and his beautiful steeds carried him rapidly from one roof to another, only the highest being the leaps of the agile deer. At last the supply of toys was exhausted, and Claus seated himself on the sledge with the empty sack at his feet, and turned the heads of Glossie and Flossie toward home. Presently Flossie asked, "What is that gray streak in the sky?" "It is the coming of dawn of day," answered Claus, surprised to find that it was so late. "Good gracious!" exclaimed Glossie. "Then we shall not be home by daybreak, and the Canucks will punish us and never let us come again." "We must race for the Laughing Valley and make our best speed," returned Flossie. "So hold fast." So hold fast, Claus, our friend Claus. Claus held fast, and the next moment was flying swiftly over the snow, so fast that he could not see the trees that whirled beneath him. Up hill and down, dale, and swift as an arrow shot from a bow they dashed, and Claus shut his eyes to keep the wind out of them and let the deer to find their own way. It seemed to him that they were plunging through space, but he was not all afraid. The Canucks were severe masters and must be obeyed at all hazards, and the gray streak in the sky was growing brighter every moment. Finally, the sledge came to a sudden stop, and Claus, who was taken unawares, tumbled from his seat into a snowdrift, and he picked himself up, and he heard the deer crying, "Quick, friend, quick! Cut away our harnesses." He drew his knife and rapidly severed the cords, and then he wiped the moisture from his eyes and looked around him. The sledge had come to a stop in Laughing Valley, only a few feet, he found, from his own door. In the east of the day was breaking, and turning to the edge of Burzee, he saw Glossie and Flossie just disappearing into the forest. And that ends the story, or this part of the story, about how Santa and the reindeer first got together to deliver toys. Isn't that a wonderful story? I hope you'll join me again tomorrow as we continue the adventures of Santa Claus. In fact, our next episode will be one of the most exciting episodes at all when we read the chapter which is entitled Santa Claus, all about me. I hope that you'll join us. Remember, we're reading the book, The Life and the Adventures of Santa Claus, every day during Christmas time of 2023, so you do not want to miss an episode. Go back and find the prior episodes that we did, and don't miss an upcoming episode, which we read every day through Christmas. Boys and girls, there is our chime, our glockenspiel chime, which means it's now time for us to read a letter to Santa, and we love to do that. We love to hear from you. Don't forget that we love to hear from you. You give us at SantaClausSays.net. You could send me a voicemail. You could send me a text message, and you can also send me an email at SantaClausSays.net/present, and I will send you a present in your email. But here's our letter that we got to Santa today. Here's how it goes. This is a wonderful letter. Dear Kris Kringle, that's another name that I go by sometimes. There is a lot I want this year, goes the letter, but this letter isn't about me. It's about my parents. They need a new car. They need it because theirs is breaking down. My dad gets a ride to work every day. My mom can barely get to her doctor's appointments. It is very hard on our family. Please, you are our only hope. Sincerely, Jake. Well, Jake, that is a wonderful letter. And I want to remind you that your mom and your dad love you very much. I know that you love them very much. And it is so wonderful that you are asking for a car for your parents. And that tells me that you are not thinking about yourself so much. You're thinking of, even though there's some things that you want, you're thinking about your parents. And I love that about you, Jake. So I want you to know that Santa hears you and is listening to you. And also Santa has in mind for you and your parents wonderful surprises. And I'm listening to you and hear your wishes. And know that whatever happens, I know you and your parents are going to have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for that letter, Jake. There's our chime, boys and girls. Our chime, our glockenspiel, that where Twinkles reminds us that it is time now to say goodbye or to close this episode of Santa Claus Says.net. We do hope that you'll join us for Breakfast with Santa Claus live on Saturday, December 23rd at 9 o'clock a.m. And that is the day before Christmas Eve when I am very busy. But we're taking time out to have breakfast with you with my cookies and my hot cocoa. And we'll be telling special stories. And that's where you could interact with me and chat with me live and in person at that time. That's 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Saturday, December 23rd. You may need to adjust your time schedule, understanding what time it is where you are located. And we'll be telling special stories and have lots of fun and games here at SantaClausSays.net. This is also, you can reach out to me and leave me a voicemail at SantaClausSays.net, a text message, or an email at SantaClausSays.net/present. We love to hear from you because Santa Claus loves you and listens to you and wants the best for you and wants you to have a very Merry Christmas. Take care, boys and girls. Santa Claus loves you. Remember, Santa Claus says to be good for goodness sakes. Take care, boys and girls. Goodbye. Goodbye.
You're special to Santa Claus, just like Sprinkles. Get on Santa's nice list at SantaClausSays.net and watch Santa Claus Says on YouTube. Tell him Sprinkles sent you.